Okay, we're going to talk through the Nebraska Range Judging Contest and how to fill out the card and what you get when you go to the event. When you go to the event, you're going to end up with 3 cards that you'll turn in, and the first 2 cards are plant identification cards. There'll be 4 stations of plant identification. So after you do 12 plants, you'll turn a card in, then you'll have another card with the other 12 plants. And keep in mind, you may start at station 4, you may start at a different station. You don't want to start at the front and go through always. Then there's a card that has the map and the sites and the questions on it, and you'll turn that one in when you're done with that. Other things you will get, you'll get a map when you go to a map station to figure the questions for the map and the stocking rate problem. You'll have a sheet with 10 multiple choice questions for station 9. And then when you're at the sites, you'll get a guide for determining the similarity index. And all that is explained in the Nebraska Range Judging Handbook. To see what those are, you should refer to that. Well, let's talk through how the card works. So there's going to be 9 stations. The first 4 stations are plant identification. The card looks like this. And let's just talk some hints on how to fill this out. So you'll have a plant, it'll be flagged. There should be several plants flagged with the same number. So they're all the same plant, but just in case, just so that there's room for everybody to see the plant, and in case you want to look at more than one sample. So you'll look at the plant, decide what it is. So let's say you decide it's big blue stem. So you write big blue stem here. Key is to write legibly. All right, big blue stem. Then you're going to fill out the other parts of it, all the plant characteristics. Life form goes with every plant, so you'll put grass, annual, biennial, perennial goes with every plant. Introduced or native. Okay, on the season of growth, that is only for the grasses and the grass likes. Since this is a grass, we're going to mark it. If it was a grass like, we would mark it, but if it was one of the others, forb, shrub, or cactus, we would leave it blank. Forage value goes with all plants. And then on the growth form, this is grasses only, so leave it blank if it's not a grass. This is a grass, so we'll mark that. Typically, most of the plants at range judging are grasses, so you'll fill those out. It's important to leave the ones blank that should be blank. Very, very few plants on this list are biennial. You should have very few, if any, biennials on it. Almost all of them are native also. And then on the grasses, they're mostly warm season. We will see that on the grasses, as a rule of thumb, the tall grasses are rhizomatous, the shorter grasses are bunch. There's only a couple of things that qualify as stoloniferous. So don't be marking stolen down on very many things, and don't be marking introduced or biennial on very many things. Let's see, let's give another example of a different plant. Say it's goldenrod. Okay, so goldenrod is a forb. It's a perennial, it's a native. It's not a grass or grass-like, so we're just going to leave that blank. And then it is low forage value. All right, there we go. And then it is not a grass, so we leave that blank. And then be this similar for the other plants. So shrubs, you'd only fill those out. Grass-like, so if it was a sedge, grass-like, sorry, clicking on that. Grass-like, perennial. Let me get this so it's off of that. Perennial, native, cool, medium forage value. And then since it's only grasses, you don't put anything there. Okay. That's that page. The forbs, the cactus, and the shrubs, you'll fill out those same columns. The sedges, you fill out all the columns, but the very last one, G, and on the grasses, you fill out every column. All right, let's go to the next page. So there's another page of those. Then we have the page for the sites. On the sites, you'll see on the very back page of the sites page, this is the back of the sites card, and it gives a list of the 12 sites. So these are the sites that are the options for here. Sites 5, 6, and 7, they'll be roped off or flagged off. And then in the corner of each, there'll be 2 small areas that are flagged. One's grazed and one hasn't been grazed. You'll have a hole at this corner that soil's been dug out of, so you can look and see the depth of the soil, the depth of water table, and then a soil profile to look at for texturing. From all that, you're going to determine the site name. Site name goes right on here. Let's say it was a sandy site. You'll write sandy here. And then you'll use the worksheet that they give you, the guide for determining similarity index, to determine the similarity index. You're going to have a number. You need to put one number down. Don't put a range of numbers down. You put a number down. So let's say you came up and you decided it was 60% in similarity index. So you write a 60 in there. Now, for full credit, it's plus or minus 10%. So as a rule of thumb, just to give yourself a little more leeway on mistakes you may have made, I don't ever write in a number greater than 90 or less than 10. So that just kind of gives you a leeway, because if you decide it's 95 and the judge decides it's 82, if you write down 90, you still get it right. But if you write 95, you're wrong. But it could be higher all the way to 100. You're still right. So 90 is the highest number, and the same goes in the bottom. The degree of use section here, that's where you're going to compare what's grazed versus what's ungrazed in the flag section in the corner. And you're going to write how much is gone from the grazed side based on the weight of the plants. All right, so you'll have to determine the percentage of weight that's been grazed out of it. That's also one number. It's just like on similarity index. So if you decided there was 40% of the plants were gone by weight, 60 was still there, you write down 40. That's how much. You'll do that 3 times. Okay? There are 3 sites. That's worth a lot. Those are 50 points per site, so 150 points total. Then on the ranch map, you'll be given a ranch map, time to work on it. There will be a stocking rate problem. During the stocking rate problem, you will need to determine from the information they give you the AUMs that are available, those that are needed, do some math and figure the difference between those two, and then mark decrease, no change, or increase on stock rate based on the AUMs. One thing I've noticed, I've seen people mark in this section over here, that is not a place to write answers. Do not write answers there. You'll miss it. The answers go here. So if you decided there were 1,000 AUMs available in the pasture and they only needed 500 based on the cattle and the information they gave you, the difference between 500 and 1,000 is 500. The difference is always a positive number. Right? It's not just this minus this, it's the difference between the two. So if there was 400 available and 500 needed, that's 100 difference. It's still a positive number. It's not the available minus needed. It's just the difference between the two. So you'll have to then decide if we need to increase, decrease, or no change. Mark one choice. So you have 1,000 AUMs available. There's 500 more out there than you're using. So you could put more animals in there. So you would mark increased stocking rate in this case. Follow the rules in the handbook as to when you will select decrease or no change. There'll also be on the map, we'll show you different management practices, and you need to make decisions based on what you see there and the scenario that they give you. What are the mark yes or no on each of the A through L? And you should mark either yes or no for everyone. All right, so you need to mark everyone here. Doesn't matter what if you think that you don't understand it, you still have to mark yes or no. The only one here that makes a lot of difference here is I and J. You can either mark I or J. The handbook says you may not mark both of them yes. Okay, you have to mark one yes and the other no, or both no. So if I decide to initiate rotational grazing, then I cannot do rest rotation. And then whatever there. Okay, so mark as many yes, as many no as you feel like you need to. Those will go in those columns there. Don't leave any blank. Those are 5 points each. Then there's 10 questions that are true, false, or multiple choice. Don't write your answers on the question page. They're going to score from this page. So mark your answers here. Make sure it's clear. Just whatever they say. Okay? So whatever your answer choices are, mark them on this sheet. And your paper should be complete. So you'll have other answers in the sites and all that. Those are the pages you'll turn in. The other pages you get, the guides, will be just for your use. They'll have you turn those in, but they're not scored. All right. That should do it. Thank you.